discussing the G8 summit in Prague. A boy who ranks 24th in his class plays Xbox 2 hours a day and wants to go to art school.
Zygote.
Very good.
Zygote.
H-A-T. Hat.
Q-U-I-V-E-R-S.
During this G8 summit week.
I can totally relate to Gilda, cloistered and love-starved in the nunnery.
Romance is simply not a feasible option for me right now.
Look, I've been traipsing all over this stinking continent looking for a girl I've never even met.
It's wonderful to meet you at last.
You girls should join me one of these days. It'd behoove you to learn some history. Woman without custody absconded with her son to Arkansas.
And they have these little special hairs so that they can deflect heat.
How is he so decisive? How is he so decisive?
Well, he's a lot like his father.
Douglas was decisive. How is he so decisive?
Well, he's a lot like his father.
Douglas was decisive.
He was an ocular surgeon.
You're playing her far too obviously dangerous when in fact she has a sunny, deadpan way of talking. You're playing her far too obviously dangerous when in fact she has a sunny, deadpan way of talking.
Sunny but deadpan.
Yes. When she hits that F,
This could be probable cause.
What is probable cause?
Reasonable grounds for pressing a charge.
There has to be something that we can do to nip this thing in the bud once and for all.
I've been curious for a very long time, and I recently received a vocation.
I found my vocation. What is my vocation, Scott?
He found his vocation. He found his vocation.
Looking for my true vocation.
And some valuable vocational advice.
you see, we shared a vocation.
He's a concert pianist by vocation.
Oh, like some sort of vocational training?
You find this new vocation.
What's the question? Your vocation, what is it?
Teaching at colleges, teaching at vocational school.
Doug did not follow in the family vocation.
Was not perhaps your true vocation?
You mentioned trying for vocational school after graduation?
It's kind of my vocation to imagine the unimaginable.
No, but you might be due for a tax rebate if you make personal pension payments linked to PAYE or vocational training.
Then we have lunch, we go back to work, we've got Vespers at 5 o'clock.
A skirmish, really.
Both of them wearing 19th century garb.
T-R-E-N-T-O.
I miss Dad and football, the whole shebang.
What's that?
I wish I could tell you.
They're always skint, aren't they?
Hey?
Well, every time I went to church when I was a kid, they're always banging on about the roof leaking or...
I make a cracking baby's head. I could give Gordon Ramsay a run for his money.
He thought I was coming on to her. He was buried without ceremony in an unconsecrated grave.
He's been wanting to buy the field for many years. But Father Donadieu was not keen and kept it stringing along.
Is that because it was consecrated?
No.
I will never leave this town in this village. He will never let me leave this town.
I've been at the receiving end of that monster's wrath most of my working life.
I'm not one to renege on a promise.
God, we skint back then, won't we?
She came at me, can't it was me off. Don't you please?
Kao and I go back a long way. That's all, for the time being.
Well, she got a rota from the hospital and she's got to work all over Christmas, so...
People thought it was the man's wife.
The man gets on his bike and rushes to work. But when he ducked into the office, he was approached by people. They all came to congratulate him on his marriage. The man had no choice but to acquiesce.
Don't be daft. He's one of the finest patisserie chefs in the world.
And it's a slice of one of those cakes, and it was absolutely minging.
Really, she is not going to come on to Sheldon.
A mandrill, she would have bent over and displayed her brightly colored hindquarters like a big red welcome mat.
I believe Alex may have unearthed the grade school science project that could be my ticket to the Nobel Prize.
I mean, I actually quite like the idea of taking all the dross and putting them all in some remote island.
Which means we can go for the meaty stuff and leave the dross behind.
I mean, I actually quite like the idea of taking all the dross and putting them all in some remote island.
Be counted as dross to be cast to the wind.
Turn this dross lead into gold.
From? Guy who has you yoked to your cell phone?
I am not yoked to my cell phone.
Come on, we're sitting in a sea of expertise in this field. The college campus. There's no end of knock-headed bimbos with tons of draws to dispense. There's 2 now. So I've got a guy. Blind? Can it?
To Stuart, your comic book store is out of this world, just like the guy in this picture was.
For the record, he also thinks the Walgreens and the dry cleaners are out of this world. How about one of the most beguiling and influential couples of the 20th century?
And my new dandruff shampoo doesn't smell like tar.
For my father, this was a foregone conclusion.
Paneling. It goes so well with this frock. I'm so glad I wore it. Isn't he lovely? Oh. Paneling. It goes so well with this frock. I'm so glad I wore it. Isn't he lovely?
Lights, a bit of glitz, snazzy frocks, all that.
I have a room full of frilly frocks.
Untoward? God, nothing untoward happened.
I know this is all very untoward.
Being implicated in your untoward behavior.
Indeed, so bare and so untoward.
I promise you there's nothing untoward between me.
Don't worry, Moira. I won't say anything untoward.
Do you think in a country like India where we're obsessed with cricket, do you really think American baseball will catch on?
I think it's a new hairstyle that can catch on if given a chance.
Well, I leave you to the warm threads of the doctor's electric blanket, one of his inventions that I fear will not catch on.
Look, Nick, I appreciate your interest in the business, but these compact discs aren't going to catch on. Even if CDs catch on, the records here will be worth a fortune.
I mean, I don't know if these things are going to catch on here, because you really should be sober to do it.
I just have a feeling it might catch on. I think it's something.
I'll tell you, that shark theory is starting to catch on.
I'm hoping it'll catch on.
Let's hope that tradition doesn't catch on amongst humans.
Did you know that they doused the body and the funeral pyre?
I saw them burning on the pyre. Please light the pyre. Sir Jorah, bind this woman to the pyre. Sir Jorah, bind this woman to the pyre.
Introducing KPMG Clara.
I shall cogitate upon it. Go quit cogitating, Steinmetz, and use an open-faced club. The sandwich.
Well, after careful cogitation.
Beats me. It's gonna take some cogitate.
Sitting on the beach, totally cogitating, I looked.
Come on, let the boy cogitate if he wants.
I would prefer to cogitate the possibilities for a time.
Hey, you savages! Stop your babbling. You're affecting my cogitation.
And when it's time to escape the hustle and bustle of the downtown core, you'll find no noisy customers or busy cash registers here to intrude upon your inner cogitations.
We are KPMG.
Renege.
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 Renege. Renege.
Oh, I've never reneged on a proffer of sperm before.
Howard the jerk reneged on me. I gotta cover his loss to the tune of about 7.
Yeah, crazy? Yes, your license has been reneged.
So she reneged on her deal and it cost him a fortune.
Now you reneging? What happened to Bad Boys for Life?
A young boy takes cover as a barrage of bullets fly into the living room.
Charlie must have nipped out. And giblets and gizzards are gonna go everywhere.
I'll take a T-bone. You like gizzards too?
I think I've ruptured my gizzard.
Who wants the gizzard? I do.
I removed the gizzard from the intestines.
Chicken gizzards, pig's feet.
What kind of boys' school is subterranean?
Subterranean. Subterranean.
Subterranean. Subterranean.
You will take your chances with the canker pus monsters beyond the gates.
Canker. Canker.
Canker. Canker.
Cocktails in the music room at 6:30. Be prompt. There's no excuse for tardiness when there's nothing else.
There are no more governments. Only rotting mounds of corpses. 3 outposts have been overrun. We are the last vestiges of civilized life.
The world is strewn with the unburied corpses of 7 billion people, and all you can think about is fornication. I know the whole interview thing is bullshit. You have to keep up appearances, but you already know who gets to go to the sanctuary. Defile me any way you like.
I met him donkeys years ago.
Well, I got told off for sniffing the soil.
What's the first smell you can remember?
The smell of rain on a garden after a hot summer. Yeah. I was about 3 years old. I got told off for sniffing the soil.
Zan's was mortgaged to the hilt. Zan's was mortgaged to the hilt, and they were behind on the repayments.
It's a rare commodity that enables the perfume to stay longer on the skin, and it has a much purer effect than its synthetic counterpart.
And Rafi became incandescent. Flat out refused.
How about we try a pint of that Irish stout now?
Do you remember when Niall's mother visited a couple of years ago and there was all that palaver with her gambling in the pub?
Yeah, they nearly lost their licence, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it didn't stop there. They were forever bailing his mother out of her gambling debts.
They were...
I know it sounds daft, but I've got this mixing bowl that
Oh, yes, you just nip to the loo.
Well, that's a turn up for the books.
I do have some very loyal customers. But they are dwindling away. Arrived just in the nick of time.
Sorry, the knock came off me there. Just saw red in front of his...
Learn to take everything she says with a pinch of salt.
I trust you implicitly. This silk robe is steeped in a deadly weed killer. Do you think it's wise sending an incident room up here? Let's go and talk to Caron and have a look around the house, see if there's anything untoward. I forgot you knew this place like the back of your hand. My vinyl collection is second to none. Maybe your reputation precedes you.
Why on earth would I want to kidnap anyone?
Maybe your reputation precedes you.
It clearly doesn't. If I was holding anyone to ransom, I would not be stupid enough to bring them to my home. Oh, predictive text, eh?
Okay, I'm banged to rights. I was going to go out on a few dates with that rich woman to see what I could get out of her when she...
He was breaking the speed limit and knew he'd been caught banged to rights. He was breaking the speed limit and knew he'd been caught banged to rights. He was breaking the speed limit and knew he'd been caught banged to rights.
He was breaking the speed limit and knew he'd been caught banged to rights. He was breaking the speed limit and knew he'd been caught banged to rights. He was breaking the speed limit and knew he'd been caught banged to rights.
Whatever you were in here for, you did it, didn't you? Bang the rights, yeah.
But Terry's got you. Bang to rights, you going down.
I've got the bangs to rights.
Coming from the most pampered woman on the planet.
You're not going to answer that?
Oh, this sales call. I tried blocking her, but I keep getting through.
This happened, and I'm scared out of my wits.
Undaunted. Look. Undaunted was the ship that conveyed Napoleon to his first exile on the...
I swear Vice City want a piece of brown paper for motion sickness. Works. I swear Vice City want a piece of brown paper for motion sickness. Works every time, Cole.
We've got the government contract for the area to check if the seabed's suitable for mining.